All right, guys, in this video here, you're gonna see some stuff from a couple months back. We just got busy, wasn't able to film, as well as my personal life's been pretty hectic. So you'll see stuff from a couple months back on still final assembly on the truck. And then I have a more recent video, like a how-to kind of video with some sheet metal fab, as well as more of an update on where we're at with this truck. So after those two are posted, and I film a little bit more of what I'm doing now, hopefully we'll have like a, more of a section of a video to kind of give an overview of what all we've done since this video you're gonna watch right now. So, can't remember all of what is in this one. I know that sounds terrible, but hey, just give it a watch and wait for another one. Okay, today we got a few things going on. I think in a previous video I had mentioned the sound deadening that the owner had installed on this. There's some of it right there. We just installed some on the upper cow area there on the inside. So that's in and ready to go. Got that done. We got this dash piece installed at the top portion here. You see original brass screws with polished stainless beveled washers. You looking for the drill? Anyway, so this is on and ready, and obviously we're still waiting to finish up the rest of the dash stuff until we get to the wiring portion. But right now, got the front bumper mocked up right now. So that's pretty cool. Got the windshield back in it after we sprayed the roof in, or resprayed the roof. And then we got the center section in. We're getting these mocked up, but we're waiting on the roof material to come in for that. So kind of haven't got to film a lot, just been busy moving around, making things happen. Here's got this cowl vent seal in. So it's drying right now. And then I got the cowl vent itself. Got the inside repainted, as you can see, and I got new hardware, so I'm bolting this thing up. So hopefully I'll be, you'll see me assembling this guy real quick, maybe with a little time lapse, and then we'll be installing it in the truck. All right, last thing we did was get that cowl vent all assembled. Got it installed, and basically the main issue we're running into is the reproduction seal. Right here, as you can see, is just way too thick, and when this goes on the lower detent, the spring, it won't stay down and go into place because the seal's so thick, so we'll have to address that. Got the windshield opening properly as well. Got it to the full extension point there. Also, a couple other things we've done. I think I showed we got the front bumper mocked up, but we got the inside of the cab all sprayed. Well, I shouldn't say sprayed, but got it all painted. So it looks nice now, all protected, no more rust. And we haven't done this yet because we're gonna wait till the top is out to finish all around the opening there. Kind of like up there as well. But yeah, pretty much got the whole cab done. And then something else that I was working on, I think I might have mentioned these, but got these door stoppers in so the door doesn't overextend, as well as a rubber guide I made back in here and riveted it in the factory location. So it's nice and smooth and has some resistance now, and the door will stay open in any position you need it to. So yeah, that's kind of about where we're at. Also, I think I showed, I got this painted and got this done. I think I showed the stuff I did to this. So that bracket's back on and done. And then I think that is just about it, really. Did a couple more touch-ups on some areas. Here's one of them here. We'll show you real quick. So this was all chunked up in here and got it all fixed. So that's good to go. And next week we'll be starting on some cooler stuff. So like putting the original external oil filter on, things like that. So if there's anything else I can think of, I'll insert another clip in here, but that'll probably do it up for this video. I think I'm just going to end it here. Probably not going to be a super long one, I don't think, but I'm really not even too sure. So yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Okay, new day. Got quite a bit done. I can't remember where I left off in the last clip, but got some of the stuff in the dash taken apart. By that I mean just the choke and the throttle cable. Well, not all the way, the choke's not all the way out, but got the firewall pad temporarily installed. You can see some tapes holding the top side up. Got the two holes cut for the heater lines to run out. And got most of the floorboards in as well. So we're still waiting on a few other items to be able to kind of start tying all this stuff up. But what I'm on to right now is the oil filter. So if you didn't know this, a lot of cars didn't have oil filters in this time. It's kind of like an actual accessory. So he actually found an NOS, and for those of you who don't know what NOS is, it's new old stock. So basically it's an original part that's never been used, so it's like brand new. And he found an NOS Dodge oil filter. So pretty cool accessory. It's all original paint, original box. So kind of show it to you here. Here's the original box, original Mopar accessory. Pretty neat. And here's the actual filter canister itself. There's where you would write down your mileage so you would know. So right now I am going through and getting all the correct fittings and lines set up for this. Here's this piece here. This threads directly into the block itself and will come out like that. And this rubber flex line, another hard line will attach this and it'll run up through the firewall and go to the oil pressure gauge on the gauge cluster. So they had just a gauge right in here when they ran the engine on the stand. So I got to remove this pipe here out of the side of the block and put this in place of it. And as you can see, I got the hold down mounted on that head stud. So I'm going to get this mock-up going and hopefully start figuring out what line and fittings I need and start making this a functioning oil filter. All right, got the first step done. Got the old pipe out and got the adapter in there. And here's the feed line for the oil pressure gauge. So it comes up here, this polished line here. Comes up here, this original line. And then what I'm about to do next is make a piece that runs from here and routes all the way up to this rubber grommeted hole. So about to go grab some line and we'll start on that. All right guys, what we did is took a piece of wire, since I was talking about making the hard line after that soft intermediate point for that little soft line there. Just take some thin wire, and that's what I was used to get the basic shape that I wanted to make for this hard line that goes up to the gauge cluster there. So I used this as my base and made sure it was pretty close to fitting where I wanted it, and then came up with this right here. So this is what goes under the dash into the gauge, which is why it isn't perfect, but then all the stuff you see is what I just straightened and bent out and made. So I'm about to trim the end of it where you see that mark there and get this thing flared so I can kind of get it tightened in place and make sure it's going to fit. One thing you guys want to remember is when you're hand making lines, always remember when you've got it cut and made how you want it to get your fitting on prior to doing your flaring, because once you flare it, you can't get a fitting on it unless your other end allows you to, but it's always best just to do them both ahead of time. as you can see here, got my fitting on, pushing it back to where it won't get in my way. And now I can go about flaring this end to get it attached to my rubber line here. Okay, we got our line all polished up. So now we're gonna slip this thing in there and hopefully she goes together all right. Try to get you guys stood up in there so we can see. That's probably looking directly at the coolant passage, but that's true. All right, there it is. All we got to do is get a bolt for this hold down, tie that down, and we'll be ready to do the inside portion, which we won't do that though until we get the gauge cluster installed. I don't think I showed a finished product of the lines I made for the external oil filter. I think I kind of showed it together, but anyway, we're in the process of trying to find the drop-in filters for this model. We tried another one that he uses for some of his older Chryslers that are around the same year, but it didn't seem to be an exact fit. So we're working on getting one of those. So I went ahead and tossed it in here and mocked everything up just to be double sure everything fit. But yeah, that's what it looks like. So you got your little distribution block down here, which I am pointing to. And this front line you see closest to me that comes up and rolls this way, goes into this soft line, which then in turn goes into this hard line, runs up here, and that's what runs out to where the dash is going to be. You can kind of see it sticking through right there, kind of right in that area there. And that's what will go feed the oil pressure to the gauge. And if you look right behind that same piece, there's another line coming up, which is the back one coming straight up here. And this is the feed for the oil filter itself. And then here's the drain here, which comes straight out 90s over and then goes back into the block itself so it can drain back into the crankcase. So ended up working out pretty well. So should function no problem. Once he finds a drop-in filter for it that's new, because we're kind of leery of using the one that's been in it for 80 years. Once he finds that, we'll be able to drop that new one in and tighten up all the lines for good. So that'll be pretty cool. Also, we got the fitting and stuff and locked this vacuum line down. Got it flared and it's done. I'm trying to think. Right now we got the thing I talked about, the seal being too big on this cowl vent. I got it locked down with a pair of vice grips underneath, hopefully crushing this seal to kind of help break it down so that thing will close. And if it doesn't, I got another good idea, which I think I'll probably end up having to do anyway, and I'll probably go over that when I actually do it. But I'm trying to think. We got the windshield to work properly too, which is pretty cool. So if you look on these sliders right here, that's a lock for when it's all the way open. It kind of, the stud drops down in that, and then you tighten this knob, and it's got the same thing down here. So we are finally able to adjust this windshield and get these slides all the way up in the fully locked position, so the rubber seals and everything. So that was a pretty big accomplishment. Also, I went over this roof piece as well. We finished it up. We ended up getting the steel all screwed down to it. I unfortunately didn't get to finish that because the owner of the truck was helping me out do that. And that is off getting wrapped in the material at the interior shop. So that should be back anytime, and we'll film installing it and go over what they had to do to get it covered. All right, guys, got the top back already. He just took this thing in yesterday and got it done in less than a day. So kind of show it to you here. Obviously it's not even because we don't have it tightened down yet. So it's just sitting in here, as you can tell. Got to get some seal to put on the bottom side of this guy, and then we'll be ready to lock it down, and I'll film a little bit while I'm doing that and show you guys what I'm doing. So I'm probably going to pop this thing back out for a couple of minutes so I can do some painting around here, and yeah, should be good to go. All right, guys, we got a little table made and a blanket under it. And we're gonna get some sealer around the bottom of this thing so it doesn't leak water. So we'll probably get a time lapse going and get this on there. All right, and as you just saw in the time lapse, got all the caulking laid down on it. So here it is here. And now I'm gonna go through and get all the hardware ready so we can come up underneath and get it all bolted down. And then I think I'll do my paint afterwards. So, all right, here we go, get ready to bolt her up. All right, he's helping me get this thing screwed in. We got all our bolts and washers in, as you can see. And we're going through right now and doing the little screws to help pull this thing down flush up against this here. So making our way around, and then we'll show you what it's like when it's done. And also, I remember talking about getting the oil filter situation squared away. So he found some correct filters. We got an original one dropped back in it. So just got to spin this thing back around, get my lines all hooked back up and tightened up, and then that system will be complete. And we also got the dash in it. Well, the gauge cluster, which is pretty cool. All right, so things got pretty hectic yesterday with the glass guys being here. I didn't get to film when I left off. I was talking about doing the Eastwood X-Mat, which is basically Dynamat on the back side of the cab on the inside where the seat will cover it up. But while the glass guys did their thing, as you can see, they're curing. For now, got the back glass in as well. Hard to see, but you can kind of see some fingerprints. We'll clean those up once everything's cured. So yeah, and then here is the X-Mat that I did on the inside. So just to give you guys a comparison, if you're not going for speed and lightness, which most of these guys aren't, more comfort, to make it more new vehicle-like. Here's a sound comparison between something that has X-Mat or Dynamat versus the Dynamat. So let's see, the top section here, if you look, doesn't have it, has it on the lower. So if you listen here to the top, it kind of has a, I don't know, I guess that wasn't horrible as they normally are, but very, very solid and quiet on the bottom compared to the top. So it's a lot more drastic in person. The video probably doesn't do it justice, but if any of you guys have ever been in an old truck cab, it's kind of like being inside of a tin can. They're very loud, and if you bang on the back sheet metal. They're very tin canny and floppy and make a lot of noise, and that's like solid as a rock. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna get on putting the stainless screws in this frame for the rear window. It's only got a few hold it in for now, so I'm gonna go through and put all the stainless stuff in it. And that's where we'll be at, and then we'll probably get back and start on wherever else is on the list.